We all want comfort and happiness. For whom do we want it? We want comfort and happiness for ourselves. What about others? Whenever the question comes about other people's comfort and happiness, our attitude is just guli maro. We are so self-centered, so selfish that whenever we are in a queue, we want to deposit fees in a counter, there is a long queue, or you are going to purchase a ticket in a railway station, then also you just want your thing to be done first, no matter who are there before you. So much self-centered and selfish we have become that by having this kind of attitude, we often create problems for ourselves, and gradually we are making this world a place devoid of love, devoid of understanding. It is all because of this self-centeredness. So the lesson that we are going to discuss today is the rule of the road. The name may sound that it is something about traffic rules, about what the traffic should do and what the people, the passengers, the drivers, others should do. It is not specifically about traffic rules or about rule of the road only. By using this reference to the rule of the road, the author will tell us about the rules that we need to follow in our everyday life. How to adjust our interest with the interest of other people. How to adjust our comfort with the comfort of other people. That is what the author will try to make us understand. The author of this piece is A.G. Gardiner, a very famous name. His full name is Alfred George Gardiner, and he was born in 1865 and died in 1946. He was a very renowned English author and an editor also. He is so popular that whoever has read one piece of A.G. Gardiner will become a fan of him. If you talk to your elders who might have studied in schools or colleges, they may tell you about other pieces written by A.G. Gardiner, the other literary pieces which were there in the school and college syllabus earlier. One very beautiful writing of Gardiner is on saying please. He deals a lot on the need for saying please and what will happen if you don't say it, what will happen if you do say it. And then all about a dog is another piece. Very beautiful writing, and most of the theme of his writing is about human behavior. How a small behavior, how they make a huge difference in what kind of society we are going to make, in what kind of relation we are going to share with other people. So, The Rule of the Road by Alfred George Gardiner. And before we go through the main writing, there is a poem given at the beginning of the essay, and that poem is an introduction to the main theme of the essay, and that poem will tell us about what we are going to find in the main writing. Let us see the poem. The people upstairs all practice ballet. Their living room is a bowling alley. Their bedroom is full of conducted tours. Their radio is louder than yours. They celebrate weekends all the week. When they take a shower, your ceilings leak. They try to get their parties to mix by supplying their guests with pogo sticks. And when their fun at last abates, they go to the bathroom on roller skates. I might love the people upstairs more if only they lived on another floor. The last two lines are really beautiful. So this poem tells us that how there are people who don't bother about other people's well-being, other people's convenience and comfort. They just are about their own comfort. If their comfort is ensured, that's it. This kind of attitude we should not have as social beings. So let us start the essay then. A stout old lady was walking with her basket down the middle of her street in Petrograd, to the great confusion of the traffic and with no small peril to herself. It was pointed out to her that the pavement was the place for foot passengers, but she replied, I am going to walk where I like. We have got liberty now. It did not occur to the dear old lady that if liberty entitled the foot passengers to walk down the middle of the road, it also entitled the cab driver to drive on the pavement, and that the end of such liberty would be universal chaos. everybody would be getting in everybody else's way and nobody would get anywhere. Individual liberty would have become social anarchy. This very first paragraph is the introduction, and this is the sum total of what the author is trying to convince us. The story is about, he makes a reference to an old lady who is a stout old lady. Stout means someone who is having a very huge figure, a very well built body she has. This stout old lady, a lady with a very well built body, huge figure she had, and she was walking with her basket down the middle of a street in Petrograd. Street is a very wide road that are there in metro cities. In big cities there are streets. They are different from the small roads. They are wide enough. So this stout old lady was walking with her basket, and she was walking throughout the middle of the road in Petrograd. The question may be, where is Petrograd? This is given at the bottom. Petrograd is a city in Russia. That was a message the author had got from one of his friends who sent a news report to the author, and in the report he mentioned that in Petrograd what happened was that an old lady was walking on the middle of the road and she was not bothering about how other people will be affected because of this. When she was walking like this, to the great confusion of the traffic. Traffic means the other passers-by, the people on other vehicles. There are cars, there are taxi, there are lorry, there may be foot passengers also. They are also moving. So when this lady started walking down the middle of the road, all those drivers of other vehicles, they became confused what to do, where to go, because it is something quite unusual. So it was a great confusion to the traffic, and not only it was confusion to the traffic, for the lady also it was no small peril. Peril means danger. Peril means danger. It was not a small danger for the lady also, because if you are walking on down the middle of the road, any car may hit you also. You may become a victim of accident. But she didn't bother about it. It was, firstly, she created confusion among the other drivers of other vehicles on the road, and not only that, even for herself also it was something dangerous. It was pointed out to her that the pavement was the place for foot passengers. It was pointed out, possibly some traffic police told her that you are a foot passenger, you are walking. So for a walker, for a person who is on his or her foot, pavement means footpath. Pavement. So for a person who is on their foot, pavement or footpath is the place where what they should make use of. You should use footpath. Then she replied, I am going to walk where I like. We have got liberty now. Done. This is my liberty. This is my freedom. I am going to walk wherever I like. If it is a footpath or it is a street, doesn't matter. It is my liberty. It did not occur to the dear old lady that if liberty entitled the foot passengers to walk down the middle of the road, it also entitled the cab driver to drive on the pavement. Here one very beautiful usage of English word is given. You have to pay attention to it. It did not occur. It did not occur. You can very well use such expressions. It will add beauty to your writing. It did not occur to the dear old lady. It means the old lady did not realize, she could not make a sense of it, she could not feel it, she could not understand this thing. To say this thing, the author is saying, it did not occur to the dear old lady that if liberty entitled the foot passenger, entitled means to give freedom, entitled to give right or to allow, this is called entitled. This occur, it did not occur. This kind of expression, A.G. Gardiner is very well known for. In the same essay, you will again find such an expression coming. So, the author is saying that the old lady did not realize the fact that as she is saying that she has got liberty, she can walk wherever she likes. If she has got this liberty, if she has got the freedom, if the foot passengers get the liberty to walk on the middle of the road and say, react like the old lady, then the driver of the cab, driver of the car, they will also say, we also have got liberty to drive our car on the footpath. That is also our freedom. And what will then happen? The end of such liberty, the conclusion will be that the end of such liberty would be universal chaos. Universal chaos. Chaos means lawlessness. Lawlessness. There will be no law, there will be no discipline. Everybody will say, I have got liberty. If the foot passengers say, our liberty is to walk anywhere, we are walking on the middle of the road, the driver will say, our liberty is to drive our car on the footpath. So some drivers will be driving on the footpath, some passengers will also be walking on the footpath, some passengers will be walking on the middle of the street, some drivers will be driving on the middle of the street. There will be universal chaos, there will be lawlessness, complete lawlessness, there will be no discipline. That's why the author said, everybody would be getting in everybody else's way and nobody would get anywhere. The problem will be that everybody will be interfering in everybody else's liberty, and there will be complete chaos and nobody will be able to reach his destination on time. And then the author said individual liberty would have become social anarchy. Anarchy means where there is no obedience to law, and people can do whatever they like. There is no obedience to law, there is no obedience to discipline, there is no definite rules, nobody is following anything. That is absence of law, absence of discipline. Such a situation it will become if the way the woman is saying that she has got liberty and she should be allowed to walk in the middle of the street. That is why her idea of liberty is a wrong one. There is a danger of the world getting liberty drunk. Liberty drunk. We drink water, we drink liquid, but the author has used the word drunk with the word liberty. For some people, as if they have drunk liberty, and if someone drinks wine, then there will be some effect on him. He will he will lose stability, and he will not be able to move and talk in the usual way. The author said some people have become affected by liberty, that they are for liberty, they want liberty everywhere. No matter where they are, no matter what the situation is, what they want is only liberty and liberty and liberty, and the effect of such liberty is that they have lost their stability and they have become a burden for others. The way if someone drinks, he becomes a burden for his family. The moment at midnight he comes, the wife, the children, they become really it is a very problematic situation for everyone. So there are some people in the world, the author said, there is a danger of the world getting liberty drunk in these days, like the old lady with the basket. And it is just as well to remind ourselves of what the rule of the road means. And with this kind of people growing in number, who want liberty and liberty and liberty, no matter what happens to other people, no matter what happens to the society at large, the author said it is now imperative, it is now very appropriate to give a lecture on liberty, on the rule of the road. So what is the rule of the road according to the author? He said, it means that in order that the liberties of all may be preserved, the liberties of everybody must be curtailed. That is another very important final thought that we get from this writing, that in order that liberties of all may be preserved. Yes, you have your liberty, that is right. I also have my liberty, that is my right. So that your liberty you can enjoy, I can enjoy my liberty, both the liberties of both of us, they do not clash, and there is a very well-formed understanding between you and me. The author says that if you want to preserve your liberty, at the same time you have to curtail some of your liberties. It is a kind of understanding that your liberty you can enjoy to an extent in which your liberty does not interfere in other people's liberty. It means you have to make some curtailment in your liberty so that other people may enjoy their liberty, and other people should make some curtailment in their liberty so that you can enjoy your liberty. When the policeman, the author is giving an example how curtailment should be there. When the policemen say, this word say here means, for example, this is very popular used in English, you can use it. Here the word say means, for example, When the policemen say at Piccadilly Circus is a very busy center in London where a number of roads meet. So it is a crossing. It is a crossroad where a number of roads meet, and it is a very busy place in London. The author is saying that if a policeman in Piccadilly Circus who is there, nowadays you have those digital system where the policeman's physical presence is not needed. The color of the light will change from green to red, etc. And then the car drivers will understand that they have to stop or they have to move on the basis of the color that is displayed on the board. But that was not the case at the time of the author's life. So the author said that in Piccadilly Circus, the policeman, he steps into the middle of the road and puts out his hand. He stops you. And all the cars coming from this direction should stop. And he will allow the other cars from that direction to move. After a while, he will stop these people, stop. And then he will allow these car drivers to move. So this man, the policeman in the Piccadilly Circus, when he steps into the middle of the road and puts out his hand, he is a symbol not of tyranny. People like this old lady, they will think, why is this man stopping me? I have got the liberty to move. I have got the liberty to reach my home at the earliest. It is my car. I have to go fast. Why is he stopping me? Who is he? What right has he got to stop me? But the author said, when the policeman stops you, he is not a symbol of tyranny. He is not exercising unwanted freedom on you. What he is doing is the fair thing. What he is doing is the right thing. Because he is a symbol not of tyranny, but of what? He is a symbol of liberty. How liberty? Because no doubt he is stopping you. For a while you may feel irritated, but he is stopping you to let other people go. And when he will let you go, at that time he will again stop some other people. This is called curtailment. Your convenience, your comfort, and your well-being, you are concerned. But the policeman is concerned about all the people's convenience, all the people's comfort, that you are not. You are not. You are concerned about yourself only. The policeman is a symbol of liberty of all. You may not think so. Yes, you may not agree with me. You may think he is exercising excessive power. You may not think so. You may, being in a hurry and seeing your motor car stopped by this insolence of office. Insolence of office. Insolence of office. What does it mean? Insolence of office means an official who is rude and disrespectful. You may think that this official, this man, he is very rude, he is unkind, and he is he doesn't respect us because I am in a hurry, I have to go fast, but he has stopped me. That is not the right thing. You may think like this. You may feel that your liberty has been violated, and then you also may think, how dare this fellow interfere with your free use of the public highway? I have got the liberty to use the public highway. It is not his father's property. I have got the freedom to go with my car. Who is he to stop me? This kind of thought you may have. But then the author said, if you are a reasonable person, yes, you need to be a reasonable person. If you are a reasonable person, then you will reflect that if he did not interfere with you, he would interfere with no one. He is interfering not only with you, he is interfering with everyone. Why is he doing it? He is interfering with everyone to ensure that everyone can cross Piccadilly Circus. Everyone can reach their home safe. So if he is not only interfering with you only, he is interfering with you in the same way as he is interfering with everybody, because his concern is the convenience of all of you. So if you are a reasonable person, you will reflect that if he did not interfere with you, he would interfere with no one. And then what would happen? If he doesn't interfere with anybody, he allows all of you to go at any way, whatever direction if you want, then what will happen? The result would be you would never cross Piccadilly Circus at all. Do you want that thing then? That the policeman should not stop me? Let all the people go and jump, and then there will be a crash, and there will be this kind of sound will be there. There will be accident. No one will be able to cross Piccadilly Circus. If you don't want this to happen, if you are a reasonable person, then you will realize that this person is actually a symbol of universal freedom. He is working to ensure everyone's freedom, everyone's convenience. So when he has stopped you and you have agreed to his signal and you sacrifice some minutes of your life, you stop your car, then what you do is that you have submitted to a curtailment of private liberty. Yes, you have private liberty and you have submitted, you have surrendered. Okay, fine, I will not move my liberty, I will stop exercising my liberty for a while, I will follow your order. If you are doing this, then you have submitted to a curtailment. Curtailment means cut. You have cut your liberty, you have agreed to the curtailment of your private liberty in order that you may enjoy a social order. Order here means discipline. A social order which makes your liberty a reality. Your liberty is not the only liberty. Like you as an individual, there are many other individuals. You are not the only person living in this world. So the way you are concerned about your liberty, your freedom, every other individual is concerned about their liberty. This man, the policeman at Piccadilly Circus, is concerned about everyone's liberty, and by obeying to his signal and by stopping your car, by waiting for a while, you have submitted to a curtailment of your liberty. Your liberty is curtailed and you have agreed to this, and by agreeing to this, you are actually contributing, you are helping towards the establishment of a social order in which everyone's liberty will be ensured. So, one interesting thing is that I remember from 5 or 6 years ago there was a student, and when after the discussion of this lesson we were talking on this lesson, and I wanted the students' views about how they have understood the lesson and what is their view. One student told something really very nice, which I very often I make mention of this in my classes in later years. He is on Memon Ahmed. If Memon Ahmed is watching my video, he might be smiling and he might feel happy that I still remember what he said. Something really very worthy, that he expressed his view that he somewhere got something, and that thing he shared, that how one person's liberty, an individual's liberty at one hand, and the liberty of the other people at the other hand, there is a very thin demarcation, there is a boundary that no one should cross. Your liberty you should enjoy, but your liberty should not interfere with other people's liberty. How is it? Memon told me a story. The name of the story is "Your Freedom Ends Where My Nose Begins." I will end with this today. This is a very nice line. Your freedom ends where my nose begins. Your freedom ends where my nose begins. Yes, you have rightly understood this nose. It is this organ, nose. Your freedom ends where my nose begins. What does it mean? There is a situation in which a man was walking and he had an umbrella in his hand, and then he was just swinging his umbrella, playing with it. Like the old lady, he was enjoying with his umbrella. And then suddenly what happened was that his umbrella hit the nose of the person who was behind him. Then that man told him that your freedom ends where my nose begins. You have the freedom of swinging with your umbrella, playing with your umbrella, it's okay. But the point where my nose is there, this is my area, this is my boundary. Your enjoyment, your freedom should be beyond this. So your freedom ends where my nose begins. This is a very nice expression to say how an individual's liberty and freedom, how it is different from other people's liberty. And we must remember that I am not the only one living on this earth, and my liberty is not the only liberty. There are other people who are equal, who also have life, who also are human beings living on this earth. Their liberty is equally important. So this is a very, very nice essay in which A.G. Gardner, in the next paragraphs, he will give some more examples to show how we should follow certain very basic principles in our life so that life becomes happy, so that everyone's liberty is ensured. This we will see in the next video. With this hope, let us stop here. Thank you very much for being with me.